Listen closely. The days of walking into a gun store and buying whatever random garbage is sitting on the clearance rack are over. If you have been paying attention to the industry leading into 2026, you know the reality we are facing. Smart money is no longer buying random calibers out of panic. It is about standardization. It is about logistics. People are consolidating into platforms that have parts availability, magazine compatibility, and a proven track record when things go sideways. Today, we are cutting through the hype. I am going to walk you through the 7 specific distinct pistols that serious Americans are stockpiling in deep quantities right now. We are looking for tools that offer standardization, capacity, and duty-grade reliability. Whether you are preparing for civil unrest or simply securing your family's safety, these are the platforms that will dominate the landscape in the coming years. We are starting at the absolute top of the food chain with the FN 509 Tactical. While nearly every other firearm on the market is trying to be a convenient concealed carry piece or a high-value budget option, FN did not care about any of that. They built this pistol for one specific reason: to go to war. When you unzip the soft case, you realize immediately why this sits at the pinnacle of duty preparedness. It comes standard with a 4.5-inch cold hammer-forged threaded barrel. This is not an afterthought. It is integral to the design. FN includes a heavier recoil spring right in the box, specifically tuned for suppressor use. It is ready for suppressed warfare the moment you break the seal. The sights are another dead giveaway of its pedigree. These are suppressor height night sights, but look closely at the rear notch. It is surrounded by heavy steel wings that protect the sight picture. These wings are robust enough that you can literally rack the slide against a concrete barricade, a boot heel, or a belt buckle during one-handed manipulations, and your zero will not shift. It locks your red dot down, tighter than anything else in its class, ensuring that the optic does not fly off under the recoil impulse of high-pressure defensive loads. And speaking of loads, let us talk about firepower. In the box, you get one 17-round flush-fit magazine and 2 extended 24-round magazines. That is nearly 70 rounds of 9mm firepower included with the purchase. The ergonomics are aggressive. The grip texture is sharp enough to draw blood if you hold it too tight, which is exactly what you want when your hands are slick with sweat, mud, or blood. The controls are fully ambidextrous, and the reliability is absolute. If 2026 gets chaotic, and I can only grab one gun belt to head out the door, the 509 Tactical is the one that will be in the holster. It is overbuilt, it is expensive, and it is worth every single penny for the peace of mind it provides. Next on the list is the pistol that effectively killed the concept of compromise in the concealed carry market. We are talking about the Sig Sauer P365 X-Macro. Before this platform arrived, the rule book was rigid. You could either have a thin, easy-to-carry pistol with low capacity, or you could have a double-stack fighting pistol that printed through your shirt. You could not have both. Sig looked at that rulebook and threw it into the trash. They managed to engineer a magazine geometry that fits 17 + 1 rounds of full-power 9mm ammunition into a grip module that is still barely 1 inch wide. That is full-size service weapon firepower in a package that completely disappears under a t-shirt. But the X-Macro is not on this list simply because it holds a lot of bullets. It is here because of how shootable it is. The compensated version features an integrated expansion chamber cut directly into the slide. This is a critical distinction for those of you living in restrictive states. It is not a threaded barrel, so you do not have to worry about legal compliance or thread protectors walking off during fire. It uses the expanding gas behind the bullet to drive the muzzle down. And it actually works. When you run rapid-fire drills with this gun, it stays flat, much flatter than a micro compact has any right to be. The recoil impulse is sharp but manageable, allowing for follow-up shots that track perfectly with your line of sight. Furthermore, Sig finally gave us a standard 1913 Picatinny rail on the dust cover. This means you can mount real, high-candela weapon lights, not just the underpowered proprietary lights we were forced to use on smaller frames in the past. If you are stockpiling for the uncertainties of 2025 and beyond, and you need one gun that can handle deep concealment, home defense, and serious range work, this is the most versatile tool in the box. Moving to number 3, we arrive at the undisputed king of the hill, the Glock 19 Gen 5. I know what you are thinking. It is boring. It is vanilla. But if we are talking about a survival reserve for 2026, boring is exactly what you should be praying for. You want a pistol that functions every single time you pull the trigger, regardless of how dirty, dry, or abused it is. The Gen 5 update took an already perfect formula and refined it for the modern shooter. The most significant change was the removal of the finger grooves. For years, shooters with hands that did not match Glock's mold suffered, but now the grip adapts to almost any hand size. They added a flared magwell to the frame, which acts as a funnel for high-stress reloads, and included an ambidextrous slide-stop lever, making the weapon fully capable for left-handed shooters or weak-hand-only manipulations. However, the primary reason this pistol is a top-tier stockpile item is the ecosystem. If society destabilizes and logistics chains break down, Glock magazines will become the currency of the new world. Everyone has them. Parts are everywhere. Holsters are everywhere. You can scavenge replacement springs or extractors from almost anywhere. The Gen 5 also features the Glock Marksman barrel, which has tighter tolerances and improved rifling that noticeably shrinks group sizes compared to previous generations. The slide is finished in Glock's NDLC coating, which is tougher than nails and provides exceptional resistance against corrosion and scratching. With a capacity of 15+1, it sits in that perfect sweet spot for both duty and carry. You cannot have a serious collection without at least one of these in the safe. It will outlast your grandchildren. At number 4, we have the weapon that forced the entire industry to look in the mirror and admit just how mediocre their stock triggers really were. I am talking about the Walther PDP Compact. If your stockpiling philosophy prioritizes pure shootability and performance over brand loyalty, this is the platform that is currently winning the battle. Walther calls their fire control group the performance duty trigger, and for once, the reality actually matches the marketing hype. When you press the trigger on a PDP, the take-up is smooth, leading to a wall that breaks cleanly, like a glass rod snapping. The reset is short, tactile, and incredibly distinct. This matters because it allows you to run the gun fast and accurately without needing to dump hundreds of dollars into aftermarket parts. With most other striker-fired polymer pistols, you have to accept a certain level of sponginess or grit. With the Walther, you are getting near-competition performance right out of the box. The ergonomics are simply on another level. Walther designed the grip texture to lock into your hand like Velcro. It is not just rough. It is geometrically designed to create friction that prevents the gun from shifting during rapid fire. Furthermore, the slide features massive, aggressive cuts they call Super Terra serrations. These are deep and sharp. It means you can manipulate the slide to clear a malfunction or load around even if your hands are covered in blood, rain, or if you're wearing heavy winter gloves. It offers positive traction in the absolute worst conditions. The PDP is also optics ready from the factory, featuring a deep cut that allows your red dot sight to sit low and natural on the slide. This lowers the height over bore and makes finding the dot largely intuitive. If you want a weapon that feels like a custom-tuned race gun, but is built like a German tank for serious duty use, the PDP is the one you should be stacking deep in your inventory. Coming in at number 5 is a pistol that proves the firearms industry is finally listening to the end user. For years, the biggest drawback of micro-compact pistols was the recoil. They were snappy, violent, and difficult to control, which made follow-up shots a struggle. The Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro Comp OSP solves that problem without making the footprint of the gun any larger. If you ever fired the original Hellcat, you know it had a bit of a bite. This Pro Comp model changes the physics of the shooting experience. Springfield cut a single port directly into the barrel and the slide on the top of the weapon. It is a simple engineering change, but it is highly effective. As the bullet leaves the barrel, high-pressure gas is redirected upwards. This force pushes the muzzle down, counteracting the muzzle flip and keeping your sights level on the target for faster, more accurate follow-up shots. Crucially, this is all one piece. There are no threaded barrels to worry about, which means no thread protectors vibrating loose, and no legal headaches in states that restrict threaded muzzles. Spec-wise, you are looking at a 3.7-inch hammer-forged barrel and a capacity of 15 plus 1 rounds in a flush-fit magazine. It is incredibly thin, only 1 inch wide, so it disappears inside the waistband effortlessly. It comes ready for optics with the OSP cut, which fits the Shield RMSC footprint perfectly. But I have to give credit to the factory iron sights as well. Springfield equips this with a U-dot rear sight and a tritium front sight. This high-contrast setup is one of the fastest configurations for defensive shooting in close quarters that I have ever used. If you demand maximum concealment but refuse to deal with snappy, painful recoil, this is the tool to stockpile. Number 6 is a wild card entry, but one that is shaking up the market for shooters who want high performance without the boutique price tag. We are talking about the Mac-9 DSD Comp. This platform is built on the 1911 footprint, 2011 style. For decades, if you wanted a double-stack 1911 with a compensator and a decent trigger, you were spending $3,000 minimum. This gun changes that equation entirely, coming in at under $1,000. On paper, this thing has every bell and whistle you could ask for. It arrives with a 5-inch bull barrel, a single port compensator cut through both the slide and the barrel to mitigate recoil, and an optics plate system. It features a flat-face trigger that, while not quite custom grade, breaks cleanly at around 4.5 pounds with a tactile reset that makes rapid fire feel intuitive. However, we need to have an honest conversation about reliability if you are going to stockpile this. In my testing of 1,000 rounds, this gun experienced 6 malfunctions. That is not a disaster, but it is not flawless either. Most of these issues were traced back to marginal ammunition, remanufactured rounds that did not feed or eject cleanly. When fed decent factory ammunition, it behaves well, but it does not have the chew-through-anything reliability of the Glock or the FN we discussed earlier. There are also some quirks you need to manage. The optics mounting hardware from the factory can be finicky. I found the screws were either too short or too long, causing the optic to loosen under recoil until I fixed it with the proper length screws and blue thread locker. Additionally, the finish wears faster than on premium guns. Expect to see holster wear and finish rubbing on the edges much sooner than you would on a duty-grade weapon. So why is it on this list? Because of the performance per dollar ratio. If you are willing to tinker, if you are willing to polish the feed ramp, check your screws, and break it in with quality ammo, you get a gun that shoots flatter and faster than almost anything else in its price bracket. It is the perfect candidate for the shooter who wants a project gun that can perform at a high level once refined. Finally, at number 7, we have the pistol that basically solved the biggest complaint about concealed carry for the last decade, the Smith & Wesson M and P9 Shield Plus. For years, the original single-stack shield was the gold standard, but the world changed, and capacity started to matter a lot more. Smith & Wesson responded by widening the grip just enough to cram 13+1 rounds of 9mm into a frame that is barely thicker than the original. If you are stockpiling this for 2026, you are not buying it for the hype. You are buying it because the M&P platform is abysmally boring in its reliability. I have run steel-cased ammo, aluminum-cased ammo, and high-pressure defensive loads through these guns, and they simply digest everything without complaint. The single biggest upgrade here, and the reason it made the list over its predecessors, is the trigger. They finally got rid of that old hinged trigger that felt like squeezing a wet sponge. The Shield Plus comes with a flat-face trigger that features a super clean break and a tactile reset. It allows for a level of precision that was previously difficult to achieve with a micro compact. The grip texture is that aggressive 2.0 style. It locks into your hand without being so abrasive that it ruins your skin when carrying inside the waistband. It is familiar, it is made in America, and it works. If you need a dedicated carry gun for the stockpile that anyone in your family, regardless of hand size, can shoot well, this is the safest bet you can make. And there you have it. That is the team. From reliable daily carry pieces to full-blown combat pistols, these are the tools that serious Americans are securing right now. The era of buying random calibers is over. It is time to focus on logistics, standardization, and proven performance. Do not wait for the shelves to go empty again. Do your research, rent these at the range, and pick the one that fits your mission. If you enjoyed this analysis, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Stay sharp.